Welcome back. So one question that needs to be answered either by World Finals or by next year is who is going to be driving the Tom Buch number 13 car full-time on the High Limit Racing Tour. Of course, we know after the announcement on Friday that Dason Pursley is going to be leaving this car and going to the Casey Kane Racing number 9 to replace the retiring Brad Sweet. And so now the 13 machine is going to need a driver. Of course, they have a charter, a franchise position for next year with High Limit. I want to say it's the 7th best franchise, so it's actually really, really good money. And so the 13, more than likely, I would say 98% they're going to be coming back to High Limit, but they are going to need to find a driver to fill in that car. And this is a car that has won a High Limit Racing feature for each of the last 3 seasons. They won this year with Dason at Lernerville. They won last year with Peck at Eldora, and they won in 2023 at Kokomo with Peck as well. So this is a car that has gone to victory lane 3 times in the last 3 years on the High Limit Racing Tour. So it's a good car, and they've got a really good crew chief with Sean Strasbaugh. And so I think it's an underrated car that is going to be very interesting to see what they do here in the offseason by trying to pick up a driver. Now, what we've got on the board here is 5 drivers on the younger side and 5 drivers on the experienced side. Say they've ran a national tour before. Maybe if they haven't, they've ran a long time, and they could be candidates to run this car next year. The younger side of things, it's just kind of like guys that I think would be fun, that I think are versatile and can learn quickly. Maybe they haven't ran more than 50 wing sprint car starts in their career, but I think that there is a bright future for them in this sport, and maybe this is the next step in their career. We saw Buch take kind of I don't know if it's like a long shot with Dason Pursley, because Pursley is a proven winner, right? We've seen him win in everything, but it was definitely a chance, taking a big chance with Pursley this year with Buch. And obviously, they had some pretty good results. Rookie of the Year, a win, 8th in points. And so maybe they want to do that again. Or maybe they want to play it safer this time and go with an experienced driver. But here are 5 guys on each side that I think would be fun to watch this year in this car. Next year, I should say. One of them, and like I said, a couple of these guys are long shots. Maybe it would be a learning experience to have them in the car. It would take a while to get things figured out. The first one I like is Hank Davis. Hank Davis this year ran the Beaver Drill and Tool 12X car. Did not run it full-time. At the beginning of the year, he ran the Shannon Wheatley 45. Things went south there about 5 or 6 races into their tenure. And then Davis got the call from the Beaver car, and he ran Power Eye a lot. Did not run the full year with Power Eye, but got a win. He's got less than, let me check over here. He's got 30 career 410 wing sprint car starts. He got a Power Eye win this year in Missouri. He has 12 Power Eye starts this year, 6 top 5 finishes. He had a top 10 against High Limit recently at Lucas Oil Speedway. He has been qualifying and hot lapping very well. So the early part of the night has been fast for Hank Davis. And, with a guy with that little experience to be qualifying well is a good sign. Just has to put it all together. I think he's a guy that we could watch for to maybe get the call, or maybe he's calling these guys to figure things out. Also, he does have a full year of ASCS National Touring competition under his belt, so he has traveled a little bit. We've seen him win a Chili Bowl prelim night. I am a big fan of Hank Davis. Maybe he's a guy that these guys could look for and maybe be the next one to develop into a really good wing sprint car 410 driver. Hank Davis, number 5 on my list for the young side of things. Now, number 5 experienced, and I do not think this one is going to happen, but I have to put him on the board because he has been mentioned so many times, and that is going to be Zeb Wise. So Zeb Wise, things did not go well with Rudine Racing as far as the splitting between him and that car, and I think Zeb has a sour taste in his mouth, of course, with how that went, and I don't think he is, wanting to jump right back into things and risk having what happened at Rudine happen to him here with the 13 car. I'm not saying it would, but I'm just thinking that maybe Zeb Wise, maybe he waits another year. Maybe he doesn't race again. But I think that if you're Tom Buch and Sean Strasbaugh, I think that Zeb Wise is a guy that you should call. I don't think he got a fair shake at it there at the end. Things just were not going well with Rudine. Obviously, they've gone very well for Justin Peck, 2 wins. But Zeb Wise, he's an experienced driver. He's a proven winner in this sport. And I think that this would be a good car with a really, really good crew chief that could maybe surprise some people. Imagine Zeb Wise next year in this car, goes out and wins 2 or 3 races. That would be a statement, and I think that would put Zeb Wise right back in, right back in the fold as far as a guy that could be a contender for a top 5 position in the point standings. But Zeb Wise has to be on the board. I don't think it's a good chance it happens. I just don't know if Zeb is really, really pushing to get a car right now, but I'm going to put him at number 5 for the experienced drivers. Number 4 on the younger side of things, and another guy with not a ton of wing sprint car experience, but he has been tearing it up in USAC this year, is Briggs Danner. So Briggs Danner, a 4-time USAC National Sprint Car winner this year. We've seen him run good in, obviously, those cars, non-wing 360s. He's ran good in midgets, has had some sporadic good runs with the wing on top of the car, but he has even less experience than Hank Davis, only 19 wing sprint car starts. But Briggs Danner has traveled quite a bit, of course, with USAC, and that could help on the national touring side of things. To me, he is a very versatile driver as well. He seems like a quick learner in everything he gets in. He seems to pick it up very, very quickly and be able to perform. And I just also think he's a proven winner. Everything he's gotten into, much like Dason Pursley, he has been able to win in it, with the exception, of course, of a 410 wing sprint car, but he's only got 19 tries at doing it, and several of those have been against the Outlaws or with high limit racing. Briggs Danner, I think, has a bright future in this sport, whether it's with USAC or maybe he makes the jump and tries to go run wing sprint cars here in the coming years. Maybe it is with the 13. Now, back over to experienced, and from the sounds of it, this guy could be on the move here in the off season, and I just totally butchered the spelling there, but it looks like I got it right. Hunter Schuerenberg. So Schuerenberg is running full-time right now with the Outlaws. He's a Rookie of the Year contender. Things are not going very well over there right now with Vermeer Motorsports. He's got 1 or 2 top 5s on the year, 12 maybe top 10s. He ran high limit twice this year, and he ran top 10 both of those races. So Schuerenberg, I think there is still something left in the tank there, but I think if he were able to pair up with a proven winning crew chief like Sean Strasbaugh, things could get turned around for him. It's been a weird year for Schuerenberg at Vermeer. Started out with Clinton Boyles on the Outlaw Tour as the crew chief, then got switched over to Ty Wolfgang, and they just haven't really seemed to find their footing yet. And so maybe Schuerenberg kind of switching things up and running with Strasbaugh, who has been a very good crew chief. I mean, he's been underrated crew chief here over the last couple of years. That could certainly play into the hand of Hunter Schuerenberg and help him get back into, a more consistent role, as a driver in wings 410 sprint car racing. I've got him at number 4. He does have the traveling experience, of course, and that is something that I think this team is going to be looking for when they try to make this move to a new driver. Now, number 3, I really like this guy a lot. I think he's got a bright future. I really do. In a very small sample size, he's been fast in a race car, in a wing sprint car. Snyder Jr. Snyder Jr., that's who I think could be a candidate for this ride as well. He's a full-time USAC midget driver this year in his rookie season. I want to say he's 7th or 8th in points with those guys. So a similar background to Dason Pursley. Started out in the micros. 2 years ago, he won over $100,000 in micro sprints. That is hard to do. Snyder Jr. won like almost every big race that year in micro sprints across the country. This year, he's been running the 410 quite a bit with the Hefner Racing guys. Had a win during Western PA Speed Week at Tri-City. That was like his 5th ever 410 start. He ran top 5 with the All-Stars at Eldora during Ohio Sprint Speed Week. That was against a 40-car field. He ran well at Eldora against the Outlaws before that big wreck with, I think it was Reitzel. Was he in that wreck with Reitzel, I believe it was? Before that, he was running in the top 10. Snyder Jr., to me, is very, very good. And like I said, I mean, he was unbelievable in micros, and so was Dason Pursley. Those two have a very similar background. Snyder Jr., how many races does he have? 26 total 410 races, very similar to Pursley when Buch took him on to run this year with High Limit. I'm a big fan of Snyder Jr. I think he could be a guy to watch for as far as getting the call to run this car next year. Sure, it would be a risk, but so was Dason Pursley going into this year for Buch. Maybe they want to try and do it again. Now, number 3, experienced. And this one, maybe a little bit of a long shot, right? But I do think this guy wants to be back on a national tour, and that is Brock Zuerfos. Now, Zuerfos has ran 2 or 3 years with the Outlaws. He's went to the West Coast. He's ran the Midwest. Of course, he's from the East Coast. that high limit goes to all those places, right? And so maybe the boot car wants to have a guy that's been around all those areas. And Zuerfos, for the last couple of years, has been trying to find his footing. He was struggling with the Outlaws. This year, towards the end of the year, got things going the right direction, either in his own 3Z, in the Rich Eichelberger car, got a couple of wins there at the end of the year at Port Royal. And Zuerfos, when it comes to experience, he has a lot of it. And so maybe that is something that this team is really interested in, and maybe pairing it up with Strasbaugh, having an experienced crew chief and experienced driver, that could turn things around. And I do believe Zuerfos wants to be back on the tour. But the one thing that I'm a little bit reserved on is if he wants to do this, if he got the call, let's just say, does he want to have all of that equipment, his trailer, all those cars, all those engines sitting on the shelf collecting dust while he's out on the road? That is something I'm a little bit worried about as far as putting him on the board here. That I don't think they want to do that, but I'm going to put him on there because I've seen his name quite a bit of people trying to mention him, and I think it's definitely a possibility maybe, but maybe not quite as a good of a possibility as the next two guys that are on the board on either side here for young or experienced. Now, number two, where did my pen go? I got it right here. Number two, another guy that you probably saw coming in this video, and, he's young, but he does have quite a bit of experience as well, and that is Tanner Holmes. Tanner Holmes has had a career year, no question about it. Just got that Trophy Cup win on the final night at the Thunderbolt at Tulare. Earlier this year, had 3 High Limit Racing top 5s in the Tarleton Racing 21. He got 2 NARC wins this year, was second at the Dirt Cup. He ran second on his prelim feature at the Double Down Duels at Eldora Speedway. Was second to, I want to say it was Cory Day that night on a very, very rough track. And so Holmes has been traveling around quite a bit the last couple of years. Ran with the Shark Racing crew, ran with the Tarleton 21, and we've seen what Tanner Holmes can do when he has a crew chief with years and years of experience, like a Drew Warner, like a Bobby Allen when he was in the 1A. Whenever Tanner Holmes has had a crew chief, I feel like he has performed very, very well. And like I said, he's been traveling around a lot here recently, and also he had a 7th place run with the Outlaws at Attica this year, a 7th place run at Tulare with the Outlaws this year. And yeah, I just think also he has that West Coast experience. So if you're going to run high limit, you've got to be good on the West Coast. There's a big stretch out there. Dirt Cup, or not Dirt Cup, excuse me. You've got the Skagit Nationals. You've got the Gold Cup. You got Tulare. You got some other races over there. Tanner Holmes has that West Coast experience. And maybe that's something that Buch wants, is to be able to perform when they go out there on that long stretch with a lot of big races out there as well. Tanner Holmes, obviously, he'd bring a lot of eyeballs to the car as well. Maybe that is something they are looking into going into next year. Now, number 2, for experienced. And this guy's experienced. That's why he's on the board. And he's looking for a ride. Cory Eliason. Right now, he's in the KCP Racing 18. Took over for Emerson Axum after Emerson Axum took over for Giovanni Scelzi. The results have been up and down. A couple of top 10s, a couple of missed races. Eliason had some very good runs this year in the Shannon Wheatley 45. Had a podium run with High Limit at Placerville. Some decent runs as well. A couple of other good runs around the West Coast area. Skagit as well. What should have made the Kings Royal had a mechanical problem go the wrong direction for him during that one. He was leading the B main or second in the B main. So Eliason, he's got that traveling experience. He's got that national touring experience, of course. He ran last year with High Limit for Ridge & Sons Racing. Eliason, kind of like Zuerfos, been trying to find his footing here recently, and maybe getting together with a very experienced team with a good crew chief could be a good pairing for both driver and team going into next year. We'll have to wait and see if that is the case, but I feel like Cory Eliason's got to be on the experienced list here. It kind of makes sense. I have no idea what his plans are for next year, if he'll go back to the Shannon Wheatley 45 or what his deal is. But Eliason, number 2, could be an interesting guy to watch for when it comes to this ride upcoming. Now, number 1 for young guys, another driver that I have been talking about a lot here over the last year or so, and that is going to be Caleb Henry. I am a big Caleb Henry fan. This year, he won the driver's title for the All-Star Circuit of Champions. He got 4 wins with that series, and he's another guy, like Tanner Holmes, has got that West Coast experience. Of course, that's where he grew up racing at before making the move to the Midwest. Also, he had an 8th place run with the Outlaws at Attica this year. Last year, had a 5th place run with the Outlaws at Attica, had a 5th place run with High Limit at Lawrenceburg. He had a 6th place run last year during the Double Down Duels at Eldora with High Limit as well. Caleb Henry in that Running Boxer Farms 101. I think this year they ran maybe 40 or 50 shows. He does not run all that much, but when he does, they've got things figured out really, especially in the Ohio area. They're very good. But like I said, he's got that experience on the West Coast. Put him together with Sean Strasbaugh. I really do think that would be an underrated pairing going into next year. Caleb Henry, I think people are sleeping on this guy a little bit. And maybe if he gets into the car and he sucks, I'll eat my own words. But I think if he did, people will be very, very surprised to see how good they would do. Maybe it happens, maybe it doesn't, but we'll wait and see who they decide to pick up. Number one on the experience side of things, and this is another one I'm not really sure if it'll work out or not, but I do think along the lines of Brock Zuerfos, Parker Price Miller, I think he wants to be back on the Highland Racing Tour. Of course, he ran it last year, had a decent finish in the point standings. Things went sideways at the end of the year, had to get in a different car, had a different crew chief midway through. He was his own crew chief, but was still able to have some good runs. So he's got the experience of running on a national tour, not only with High Limit, but he basically ran the entire season with the Outlaws in 2020, driving for Phil Dietz. And so Parker Price Miller, I think he's a guy that's got the talent level to be on a national tour. This year got a bunch of wins with the All-Stars, got a bunch of wins in local competition, had some really good runs against the Outlaws and with High Limit Racing. And so Parker Price Miller, I think he wants to be back on the road, but it's got to be the right situation. Will he leave Bernie Stubjen in the 71 car to go to the Buch 13? I'm not exactly sure. If he did, I think it would be fun to watch. I would love to see it. Parker's a good friend of mine, and I think that he would be a great addition once again back on the Highland Racing Tour. He does have a lot of fans, and so the law firm put him at number one experienced for me. Here are the 10 drivers that I think could be potential candidates going into next year with the Buch Motorsports 13, Tom Buch, Sean Strasbaugh, and the rest of the team. I hope that maybe they pick one of these guys. Maybe not. Maybe they pick somebody way off the board that we weren't expecting. We'll have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Who do you think they could get to drive this car? Let's make it realistic. Like Anthony Macri, he's not going to run this car. David Gravel's not going to. They've got other rides, right? They've got things figured out. These are guys that I could legitimately see it happen for, and that's why I put them on the board. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys again here soon.